Most men spend their entire lives believing that wealth is something you chase. They think it's a paycheck, a promotion, a business deal, a stroke of luck. But the truth very few ever understand, is that wealth is not a destination. It's not something you get at the end of a long road. Wealth is a state of mind. And until your mind is conditioned to hold it, you can touch millions and still lose it all. You've seen this truth with your own eyes. Lottery winners who lose everything in a year. Athletes who go from glory to bankruptcy. Businessmen who sell a company for millions only to be broke within 5 years. Why? Because money does not stay where it's not welcomed, and the subconscious mind is the doorman. Napoleon Hill discovered, through decades of interviewing the most successful men of his time, that the subconscious mind is both the gatekeeper and the engine of wealth. It accepts whatever you feed it, good or bad, empowering or destructive. And then it works day and night to turn those inputs into reality. If you feed it fear, it will find ways to prove you right. If you feed it scarcity, it will create more lack. But if you feed it abundance, confidence, and certainty, it will bend reality to match those beliefs. Here's the problem. Most men are programming their subconscious by accident. They allow the news, gossip, and negative self-talk to pour into their minds unchecked. They rehearse every failure, replay every doubt, and reinforce the identity of someone who can't, without realizing that their subconscious is taking notes and obeying orders. The result? A life that mirrors the limitations they've accepted. But what if you could change the program? What if, over the next 90 days, you could strip away every belief that's kept you stuck and replace it with the wealth mindset that made Carnegie build empires, Ford revolutionize industry, and Edison turn imagination into invention? That's exactly what we're going to do here. The subconscious mind does not work on logic. It works on repetition, emotion, and belief. It accepts whatever is repeated often enough with enough emotional intensity, whether it's true or not. This is why a lie told enough times can become someone's truth, and why a man who sees himself as a failure will find ways to fail even when success is within reach. Your conscious mind can decide to get rich, but unless your subconscious agrees, nothing will change. The conscious mind is the captain giving the orders. The subconscious is the crew that actually runs the ship. And the crew only follows the instructions it's been trained to understand. Think of your subconscious like the soil in a field. Whatever you plant there will grow, weeds or wheat, it doesn't matter. The soil does not judge. If you plant scarcity thoughts, scarcity grows. If you plant wealth thoughts, wealth grows. But planting is not enough. You have to nurture it daily, protect it from pests, and refuse to let weeds take root. This is why 90 days is not just an arbitrary number. It takes time for the subconscious to accept a new identity. Studies have shown that 66 to 90 days of consistent reinforcement is the threshold where new thought patterns begin to become automatic. For the first few weeks, your old programming will resist. It will whisper, "This isn't working," or "This is fake." But if you persist, something powerful happens. The resistance fades, the new beliefs take root, and your subconscious begins to operate as if wealth is your natural state. Napoleon Hill called this process autosuggestion, the deliberate feeding of your subconscious with thoughts you choose, repeated until they are accepted as truth. Every wealthy man, whether he knew it or not, used autosuggestion to condition his mind for abundance. Some did it through prayer, some through affirmations, some through relentless focus on their goals. But all of them understood, the mind must be trained before the hands can build. So, what exactly are we rewiring in these 90 days? First, we destroy the 3 lies of poverty: that wealth is for other people, that you have to wait for permission or the right time, and that your current circumstances define your future. Then, we install the 3 pillars of the wealth mind. Absolute belief that wealth is your right and responsibility. Daily alignment of thought, word, and action toward abundance. And emotional mastery to stay focused regardless of temporary setbacks. The man who owns these pillars does not panic when the market shifts. He does not shrink when others doubt him. He moves with the calm certainty of someone who knows the outcome is inevitable. And here's the secret most won't tell you. This certainty doesn't come after wealth. It comes before. You have to feel rich long before you have the money. You have to think like a millionaire while your bank account still shows 3 figures. Because the subconscious doesn't wait for the external to match the internal. It creates the external to match the internal. Rewiring your subconscious for wealth is not about wishful thinking. It's about reprogramming the automatic patterns that drive your behavior so that every decision, every action, every reaction is aligned with wealth. When that alignment becomes natural, wealth becomes inevitable. The next 90 days will test you. You will be tempted to skip steps. You will wonder if it's working. But if you commit, if you refuse to quit, you will wake up one morning and realize that you no longer think the way you used to. Scarcity will feel foreign. Abundance will feel normal. And when that happens, money will begin to flow toward you in ways you can't predict. This is not magic. It's mental engineering. And it works every single time for every man who does the work. If you were to look inside the daily lives of the most powerful men who ever lived, you would see a pattern so obvious it almost hides in plain sight. It's not luck, it's not random opportunity, and it's certainly not waiting for the perfect conditions. It's the deliberate, disciplined shaping of the mind, day after day, until the external world has no choice but to follow. Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, outlined this with surgical precision. He called it the formula for success. But make no mistake, it is the formula for reprogramming your subconscious. The next 90 days are not about trying to think differently. They are about building a system so tight, so repetitive, and so emotionally charged that your subconscious mind cannot escape the new commands you are giving it. Most men approach this half-heartedly. A few affirmations here, some journaling there, and then they wonder why nothing changes. But the subconscious doesn't respond to occasional effort. It responds to daily immersion. That is what we are about to do. The first month is about removing the mental toxins that have been poisoning your wealth mindset. Imagine trying to plant a garden without pulling out the weeds. The new seeds don't stand a chance. In this phase, you eliminate negative input. This means cutting out news that thrives on fear, ending conversations with people who reinforce scarcity, and removing entertainment that glamorizes struggle or mediocrity. You replace those with material that elevates your thinking. Biographies of great men, teachings of wealth principles, and your own carefully crafted affirmations. Every morning, the first words your mind hears will be your wealth declaration. This is a statement you write for yourself in the present tense, describing your financial identity as if it already exists. It is not, I will be wealthy. It is, I am a disciplined, confident, and highly valuable man who creates wealth with ease and integrity. You will read this aloud with emotion, not like a grocery list, but like a battle cry. During this phase, you also begin your silence hour, 60 minutes every morning, where you sit with no distractions, no phone, no noise, and think deliberately about the life you are creating. You visualize it, feel it, and most importantly, believe it. The silence is where your conscious and subconscious meet without interference. Once the weeds are gone, it's time to plant. This phase is about saturating your mind with your new identity until it becomes the only one you recognize. You write your goals daily, not once a week, but every single morning. You visualize achieving them with crystal clarity, and you rehearse the feelings you will have when they are real. You also begin micro-discipline challenges, small, daily commitments that have nothing to do with money, but everything to do with building trust with yourself. It might be 50 push-ups before breakfast, reading 10 pages of a book, or taking a cold shower. These actions send a powerful signal to your subconscious. I do what I say I will do. That self-trust is the foundation of wealth attraction. You will also introduce wealth immersion, spending time in environments that reflect the life you are creating. This could mean walking through high-end neighborhoods, visiting luxury hotels, or networking with people operating at a higher financial level. The goal is to normalize wealth in your mind, so it no longer feels out there. It feels like home. By now, your subconscious is accepting the new identity, but it's not yet uncheckable. The final 30 days are about making it permanent. You double down on your rituals, protect your environment like a fortress, and eliminate every last trace of the old identity. This is where you introduce wealth performance rehearsal, deliberately acting in situations as the wealth version of yourself would act. You make decisions faster, you speak with authority, and you carry yourself with certainty. The subconscious doesn't just learn from what you think. It learns from what you do. When you behave as if you are already wealthy, your subconscious works over time to close the gap between your actions and your reality. The reason this works is simple. The subconscious loves consistency. It resists change at first, but once it sees the same thoughts, the same behaviors, and the same emotional charge repeated over and over, it surrenders. It says, "This must be who we are now," and begins filtering reality to match. Opportunities that once went unnoticed now appear in front of you. Ideas that once seemed impossible now feel natural. And the best part? You won't have to force yourself to think rich thoughts. They will be automatic. But here's the warning. If you break the pattern, even for a few days, the old programming will try to creep back in. That's why, for these 90 days, you must treat this like your life depends on it, because in a way, it does. The life you've been living so far is the result of your current programming. If you want a different life, you must protect the new program until it's strong enough to stand on its own. Asterisk, by the time you enter the 3rd month of this process, something remarkable will have happened. Your old beliefs will feel like they belong to a stranger. You will begin to notice how different your reactions are compared to just a few weeks ago. Opportunities that once intimidated you will now feel exciting. Decisions that used to take days will take minutes. This is the point where the rewiring has reached a deep enough level that your subconscious is no longer fighting the change. It is now enforcing it. And this is where most men make a fatal mistake. They think the work is done. But the truth is, the 3rd month is where the real transformation takes place. Because now we move from conscious reprogramming into automatic identity reinforcement. At this stage, your job is to flood your life with proof that your new identity is real. You create proof through consistent results. Every small win, closing a deal, hitting a daily habit, making a new connection, becomes evidence your subconscious uses to lock in your wealth mindset permanently. This is why the wealth log is so critical. Each night before bed, you write down 3 ways you acted in alignment with your wealth identity that day. It could be as simple as refusing to engage in gossip, investing in a course that grows your skills, or saying no to a low-value opportunity that would have distracted you. These actions are not random. They are the reinforcement your mind needs to see that you are living as the man you decided to become. And here is something Napoleon Hill understood better than anyone. When you live as if something is already true, the subconscious moves heaven and earth to make it undeniable in the physical world. But living as if is not pretending. It's practicing. Practicing the posture, the tone, the decisions, and the energy of the wealthy version of yourself until it stops feeling like practice and starts feeling like home. This is why in these final 30 days, we add the wealth environment audit. You will look at every single aspect of your surroundings, your workspace, your home, your car, even your wardrobe, and ask a simple question. Does this reflect the man I am becoming? If the answer is no, you make changes immediately. This is not about spending recklessly. It's about alignment. Even a simple act like keeping your desk clean and organized sends a signal to your subconscious that you operate with clarity and intention. Your environment must serve as a mirror of your future, not a reminder of your past. And while we are upgrading the environment, we are also solidifying the rituals. The wealth declaration is now not just a morning practice, but something you repeat throughout the day whenever doubt tries to creep in. Your silence hour becomes a non-negotiable, an unshakable anchor in your schedule where you meet with yourself and your vision without distraction. Your micro-discipline challenges evolve into macro one's bigger commitments that stretch your limits and force you to grow into them. This could mean negotiating a bigger deal than you've ever handled, speaking in front of a larger audience, or taking on a project that scares you in all the right ways. The point is to give your subconscious proof that you are capable of operating at a higher level. And here's the paradox of this phase. It will feel both effortless and intense. Effortless because your new patterns are now automatic. Intense because the stakes are higher and you are playing in a bigger arena. But you will not be intimidated because your mind is no longer the mind of the man you used to be. It is the mind of wealth, discipline, and inevitability. And here's what will happen after the 90th day. You will notice that wealth, both in money and in opportunities, begins to arrive in ways that feel almost unfair. People will describe you as lucky, but you will know it's not luck. It's alignment. The world is simply delivering the results you've been programming into your subconscious for months. And now, the most important truth of all, this process never truly ends. The 90 days are the foundation, but the wealthy mind is maintained through daily reinforcement for life. Just like a champion athlete doesn't stop training after winning, you don't stop conditioning your mind after achieving your first big goal. If anything, the conditioning becomes even more important because bigger goals require even sharper focus. And if you ever find yourself slipping back into old patterns, you know exactly what to do. Return to the rituals. Return to the silence. Return to the declarations. The subconscious will always obey the strongest and most consistent set of instructions it receives. Keep giving it the right ones, and your wealth will continue to grow, not just in your bank account, but in your confidence, your relationships, and your impact on the world. You began this journey perhaps thinking you were chasing money, but now you understand you were never chasing money. You were becoming the man money chases. And once that happens, once you rewire your subconscious so deeply that abundance becomes your default state, you will realize that wealth is not about what you have, it's about who you are. And that is the ultimate transformation. You have 90 days to change everything. The question is not whether it works. It works every time for the man who commits. The question is, will you do the work? If this message has spoken to you, then you already know your answer. Begin today. Lock in the rituals. Protect your environment. Speak your declarations with power. Build proof every day. And in 3 months, you will look in the mirror and see a man who thinks, acts, and attracts like wealth is the only option. This is your time. This is your shift. The wealth mind is yours to build. Do it now. And if you're ready to make this your way of life, subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and join me here daily. Because every single day, I bring you the exact mental blueprints Napoleon Hill left behind, blueprints for building a mind that money, success, and opportunity cannot ignore. This is not motivation. This is mental engineering. Listen daily. Apply relentlessly. Build your wealth mind.